Hey guys, welcome back. I'm Dale.
And I'm Adriana.
Today we're going to give you guys a closer look at our fabric division and what is involved with the fabric department. So enjoy. Hey guys, today we're sitting down with Drew Gerber. He's the guy who handles all the fabric questions that we get when people call in here for our fabric department. Today we're just going to go over a few of the questions that come up pretty often and get Drew's response, and hopefully it helps you guys understand a little bit more what we do in the fabric department. So Drew, when somebody calls in and they say, I need a kit for my airplane, like what are the key information about their airplane that you need?
It's pretty straightforward. We're going to need what model it is, obviously. Usually the next question I go to is, are you familiar with the process at all? Have you ever done any of the Polyfiber, the Randolph Ceconite coverings? You know, a lot of times people are calling with the more standard airplanes, Piper, J3 Cubs, Aranca, Champs, Chiefs, do a lot of Stearmans. So basically we just need to know, one, are you familiar with what you're doing at all, as we can start walking you through the process, and two, what are you covering? And then we usually go from there.
Does it matter the year of the airplane or the serial number, or? In
some instances, the serial numbers, you know, usually pertain to the year. The year, yeah, in some cases it does. Depends what's changed throughout the years. Especially, usually that has to do with control surfaces, what they've done with engine upgrades, things like that. Not always, like a Piper J3 fuselage, you have your pre-war and your post-war, so we just need to kind of get a year to see what we're working with there. So yeah, in some instances it does.
Okay, so when somebody calls in and they want to order a kit, where do you start? Like, how do you teach them, or what do you give them?
So usually, especially if they've never done any of the work before, I'm gonna lead them right here. This is the Polyfiber, how to cover an aircraft using the Polyfiber system. There's also one for the Randolph Ceconite. This is basically the instruction booklet to cover an airplane. We do sell the hard copies here. We send them out with the full kits, and they are available, a downloadable PDF that's free on Consolidated Aircraft Coating's website. It's a great resource. It's actually where we get most of our information. John Goldenbaum, who's the owner of Polyfiber, actually wrote it, and it's a great resource.
Okay. So if I'm not an A&P, can I cover my own airplane, or do you have to be an A&P to cover an airplane?
Yeah, actually most of the airplanes are done by just the plane owner. Usually you're going to have to ask around at the airport or something like that, because ultimately an A&P is going to have to sign off on your work. That's why we just want you to get ahead of the game, go through the book so you know what you're doing, so the A&P doesn't have any trouble with your work and saves you the headache. But it will have to be signed off by an A&P at the end.
Okay. So you talked about the kit. Like, if somebody orders a kit from us, what's included in that kit? Like, what are they getting?
So our kits, as far as I know, we're some of the only people in the country sewing the pre-sewn envelopes. Our kits usually consist of all the envelopes, Polyfiber or Ceconite. We can do it in either fabric, all the way from the envelopes up through poly spray, which is the UV silver, and then usually later after that we talk about which top coat the customer is going to use to finish their airplane. When the full kits are purchased, we do offer free shipping anywhere in the lower 48 states, and it's everything you need to cover your airplane.
That would include what, like your paint sticks and your filters?
Paint sticks, filters, I mean everything from your tapes, your polyester pink tapes, your rib bracing tape, your rib lacing cord, poly brush, poly spray, poly tack glue to put the fabric down. It's everything you need.
Okay. Now I know I've heard the question about rib stitching. Do you have to rib stitch?
You do. When you get in the air, there's lift, and the lift, no matter how much glue you use, is going to pull that fabric up off your wings. So you're either going to have to rib lace. In the case of some of the Arancas, the Cessna 140s, 170s, there's PK screws, clips. Basically the glue can't be the only thing holding it down.
Okay.
You're going to have to use another method.
Okay, so after talking about the kits, and you've mentioned the envelopes to us, like what do we offer envelopes for? Like, what kind of aircraft, and how do you get the measurements for these? Like, how do you have the right size? Like, how do you know?
Well, for those of you that are familiar with Jim and Dondi Miller that owned Aircraft Technical Support for years, we bought all of their patterns from them, and Jim basically made it his life work putting these patterns together, and that's why they are just such a great fit. We have a great seamstress in Katie. We never have any issues with our envelopes, just to put it bluntly. They fit great. On an airplane, covering a complete kit, you're looking at saving between 100 and 150 man hours versus the blanket method, the old style of just laying the fabric on the airplane and going through the seams. So the envelopes are a great addition if you're looking to save some time on the airplane.
So when would the blanket method be preferred over, or I guess maybe I should ask, is there ever a time the blanket method is better than the envelopes?
You know, it's a preference thing. Some of the guys have been doing this for a long time and have never used the envelopes. They just feel more comfortable using the blanket method. We're never going to tell you not to do that if that's how you feel comfortable. There are a few airplanes we have a lot of patterns. There's a lot of patterns, but there are a few airplanes we don't have envelopes for. And in that case, we can get really close with an estimate sheet, the total amount of fabric you'll need as well as the supplies to go with it, and still get you fixed up to cover the airplane.
Okay. So what resources do you offer if they buy just the fabric? Like, do we offer them resources as well, or is it only when they buy a kit?
No, we offer technical support to anybody that wants to give us a call, really. Whether you got it from us or not, we'll still talk you through it, and hopefully then you'll give us a shot the next time. I do some of that technical support. Austin is the gentleman that does the covering here on the airplanes, as well as Katie, our seamstress. If there's questions I can't answer, we'll get you to one of them, and we always have an answer for what's going on.
Okay. So if somebody needed just one envelope, or say they just needed so many yards of fabric, we'll sell them that too, right?
Absolutely, yeah. We do discount the envelopes when bought with the kit or our covering supplies. So they are a little more expensive when bought individually, but we'll sell bulk fabric, we'll sell envelopes by themselves, anything you need.
Okay. So if I call in and I want a kit for my airplane, like, how long does it take for you to sew those envelopes before it would ship out? Like, what's the lead time I'm looking at?
So usually right now our seamstress is sewing a few days a week. Usually we're sewing about 3 days a week. Right now we're sewing on Mondays, we're sewing on Wednesdays and Thursdays. A lot of times, if we're not too backed up, we're able to get them sewn up and shipped out the same day.
She can sew a whole kit?
A whole kit in the same day, yeah.
Wow.
A lot of times we can do same day. If not, it's almost always within the week. I would say 95% of the time we'll get it out in a couple days or within the week. You know, if it's on Wednesday, it might not ship out till Friday, something like that. But typically just a couple days.
Okay. All right. Okay, so you say you can get envelopes out in a couple days. Like, say I'm working on my home built and I need an envelope for my wing. Can I call you guys up and you'll sew me a custom envelope for that?
So we have a lot of wing patterns for some of the more popular home builts, the ultralights. We do have a lot of patterns for those. If we don't, then it's going to be relegated to the fabric, the blanket method. We don't do custom sewing.
Okay.
We don't take in dimensions or something like that and then sew a pattern to fit it. If we have the pattern, we'll sew it. If we don't, we're gonna lean you towards the blanket method of covering.
All right. So after I've got the airplane and, like, say I got all the fabric, I've got it covered, now I'm ready to paint. Like, can I call you and, like, how do I tell you what paint I need?
So the first thing we're going to tell you again, and we do have both of these listed online. These are the Polyfiber and the Randolph color charts. Any of the colors on these two, we can tint that same day. We carry the base here. We tint everything to order. Any of the 50 colors on both of these sheets. We do have the ability to do some matching. Those we have to send out to Consolidated Aircraft Coatings, the manufacturer of the product. They actually do the match out there, get the formula figured out for us, and then get it back to us, and then we can mix that for you here. But any of the standard colors, we can ship same day. That's not a problem at all. We carry all the top coats from the easiest to repair Polytone, Aerothane and Ranthane for the Polyfiber system. Ceconite Randolph is going to be your butyrate dopes, and again Ranthane, which is the only paint that's approved for both.
And how long does this paint keep? Like, if I plan on working on my airplane and getting it done in a couple months or that year, like, how long will this paint hold that color?
So all of the paints are good for a few years unopened. Now, if they sit there for a while, you're going to want to put them back on a shaker again. Get in there with a stick, get the pigments from the bottom, get them shaken up real good, because that is going to affect the way your color turns out. But they're all good for a few years unopened once they're mixed.
Okay. And back to like the rib stitching and taping over that, like the iron system. If I don't have an iron, what would you lean people to?
So we actually carry the new iron that's put out by Consolidated Aircraft Coatings, and it's awesome, especially if you're a beginner, because it is only going to heat up to the 350 total max you need.
Okay.
Where store-bought ones do work, and they work well, but you got to really watch your temperature setting, because they go so hot they can burn a hole through the fabric. So we do offer Polyfiber's Consolidated Aircraft Coatings recommended iron here that is for purchase.
Okay. What exactly does ironing it do? Like, I know why, but what is the purpose?
So the fabric it's heat shrunk fabric, basically. So it's going to get glued on, it's going to be loose, and then it's basically going to be shrunk with the iron initially at 250 to fit the airplane, and then 350 degrees to get all of your wrinkles, everything out, and to conform it to the aircraft.
Okay. So, like, can I mix different products from different systems?
Quick answer is no.
Okay.
No. The STCs are pretty stringent on, if you're using Polyfiber, you're using the Polyfiber system the whole way through. If you're using Randolph Ceconite, you're using the Randolph nitrate butyrate system the whole way through. There's mix and matching is never a good idea. You never know what's going to react wrong to what, so unless you're as the manual says, I believe, unless you're a chemist, you're going to want to stay away from that.
Gotcha. What system do you prefer? Is Polyfiber better than Ceconite? Ceconite better than Polyfiber? Or is this like a Ford Chevy question?
I don't think we could say one's better than the other. We more than likely are going to lean towards the Polyfiber system, most for ease of application, repair. But the Ceconite, the Randolph Ceconite system's tried and true. It's been around forever. A lot of guys that have done it before just feel more comfortable with it, and it's going to hold up as well. So I wouldn't say one's better than the other. We do sell a lot more Polyfiber than we do Randolph Ceconite.
Well, I think, Drew, that I've covered all of my questions that I can really think of. Is there anything that you think of when people call in, like, that is just important for the customers to know? Anything you want to add to it?
I would just say we're happy to have you give us a call and talk you through starting up. If you're looking to get an idea of what you're getting into before, again, give us a call. We can send you out one of the manuals, read through it. You'll feel a lot more comfortable, or head over to Consolidated Aircraft Coatings website. There's a downloadable PDF of both there, and it'll get you an idea of what you're getting into.
Okay, well, thanks for sitting down with me and taking this time today, Drew. Hopefully it helps people understand a little bit more about what we do in our fabric department, and if it is something that you're interested in or thinking about, give us a call. Drew's happy to help you.
Absolutely.
Hey guys, if you have any questions, be sure to contact Drew in the sales department. And just a reminder, if you're not already, follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube. Thanks for watching.
Have a good weekend. Stay safe.